Hey guys, Patrick here. Life lessons for my sons. Hey boys. Today's topic, debt. There's two types of debt, good debt and bad debt. As you know from playing the cash flow game, and if you guys, anybody out there who's watching, listening, hasn't played cash flow, highly recommend cash flow for kids, for the youngsters, and then cash flow for juniors and adults. Anyway, in the game they got doodads, and then they have assets. And debt, when you're using debt, there's good debt and bad debt. Good debt is any debt that you pay when you buy something that pays you more money than the debt payment. For example, buy a rental house. Your payment on the house is $1,000 a month. The rent, and I'm just this is very simplified. There's way more that goes into it than that. Let's just say your payment is $1,000 a month. That's for everything, all your expenses, your debt, everything. But the rent is $1,500 a month. So that's good debt. You're using good debt to get into that rental, and you're making $500 a month. That's an example of good debt. Now, example of bad debt is buying a car on a loan. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but when you pay $50,000 for a car on a loan, it's typically a 5 or a 6 year or it's a 5-year loan. And so you're paying for something that is not paying you anything. It's enjoyment and it's great when you first get it, but you are paying out of pocket. A good definition of a asset, and basically what I'm saying is buy assets, use leverage, use a loan to buy an asset, something that pays you to own it. For example, if you lost your job and you have debts, what would continue to pay and cover those debts? What would not continue to pay and cover those debts if you lost your job? And we've played cash flow, and you guys know this. So the definition of good debt versus bad debt. Good debt, you're making more money off the loan of the purchase of the asset. So more than covers the loan. Bad debt, you're just paying out every single month for a doodad. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have them. I like them too. I like doodads. I usually pay cash for doodads. Some people say, well, gosh, you could have got a loan for that car and then used your cash for an investment, and your investment could have paid more than the payment of the car. Yeah, and I agree with that. And I heard Robert and Kim Kiyosaki talk about that often. Is, let's say you have $50,000 for a car. Okay, instead of buying that car, you take that $50,000, you leverage it up to buy a $250,000 property. Use your 50 down, get a loan for 200 or 150, and then the payment on your car, or the cash flow off that property, is $500 a month, but your payment for your new car is maybe $350 a month with insurance. So that's a great example of using your money, getting into good debt, and the cash flow from the good debt covering the liability. That is the ultimate scenario, and that's what you guys should be shooting for. So I don't always do it that way. I typically do just cash for doodads. And real estate, as you know, I have apartment buildings and they produce cash flow, and the debt, I'm going to keep that debt. I'm not going to try to pay off that debt because I have it for such a low interest rate that I couldn't possibly, the inflation is eroding away at that debt more than the interest rate, at a higher rate than the interest rate. Anyway, you guys, good debt, bad debt, please like the videos and subscribe to this channel. And if you have any comments, please leave them down below. I'm sure you got great comments for good debt and bad debt. Please put your comments in for what you think is good debt and what's bad debt and what you do. I'd love to hear it. Thank you, Patrick. Out.